What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. This is Get Right Fantasy Network, and we're grading a mock here. Monday night grading session here. And speaking of session, as you can see, we're here with our special guest. We got Alex, the 420 Hustler, in the house. How you doing, Hustler? How's it going, brother?
I'm doing good, we normally do a Monday night mock session, but that didn't go down tonight because my homie's on vacation. So super excited to jump on here and talk about this mock that we did on Friday.
Absolutely, man. It was an awesome mock, a 12-team Superflex full PPR redraft. It was just two running backs, two wide receivers, and two flexes in there. Of course, your Superflex with the two potential quarterbacks and your tight end. Of course, we got to throw one in there too. But yeah, man. So I just kind of want to turn the floor over to you, man. You and I just recently connected here, and I met you through Facebook, man. Wanted to be a part of your fantasy football advice for expert gurus and beginners. Facebook page for all of you guys out there. Go check it out. Over 70,000 members, and it's cracking on that page. So it lured me in. I don't know how I made it to 70,000 and why it took so long to get to me, as much of as a degenerate I am. But it finally made it to me, man, and we connected. And here we are just a short time later in the house, man. So definitely check out the 420 Fantasy Hustler on YouTube as well. Definitely go subscribe. Check out the description below. And obviously you have your Twitters, FF Hustler 420. You're on Insta, Discord, TikTok, Twitch. Just hustling out there everywhere, man. So I love it. The grind, that's what we're all about. As you can see down there, man, we're all about rolling those sleeves up and getting to work and putting in that grind. And speaking of grind, you got to tell me about this best ball tournament that you got going on, man. Tell me about it.
Well, it's wild. So last year I started it, and we had 120 teams in. So we had 10 divisions of 12, and everyone was so hyped on it. I mean, top, I think 5 ended up getting paid. So everyone has their own divisions, like a league within the league. And come playoffs time, that's when it's this big battle royale, where it's like half the teams from each division, colliding. This year, those 120 teams, filled up within a couple days because pretty much everybody who did it last year wanted to do it again. So this year we have 21 divisions, 252 teams in. And last year we had all of North America covered. We had Canada, Mexico. This year we got some guys in the UK. There might be like 10 or 12 guys like in Australia now. So, it's just a crazy worldwide tournament. We did a whole bunch of mocks this past week because I implemented IDP into these tournaments. Like everyone else is like super scared to like just touch it because they think it's going to turn so many people off. I'm just going to do the opposite. We're going to set some trends. I just added a couple people in there. A bunch of people never played IDP before, but because it's only 2 spots, they're not really scared. Also, a lot of these big tournaments are free. This one that I did, $22, so we do have a little bit of stakes on it. And, 252 teams, $22. We have some nice like payouts. Make sure to mix in a championship ring. We got the whole theme is movie sports characters. A lot of football, characters in there from these movies. And we got jerseys, like prize jerseys, like Bobby Boucher, the Al Bundy, his jersey from Polk High. And who else? Stephen Willie Beeman, Shane Falco. There's 5 of them. I know I'm forgetting one of them, but Paul Wrecking Crew. That's the other one from
there you go.
Yard. So this week we've been doing a bunch of the derby drafts to kind of get the draft orders going. And so I've been on YouTube pretty much all day doing that. We did the draft orders for seven out of the 21 divisions today. It was pretty awesome. But I had little clips from the movie and stuff loaded up, so we got real nostalgic, with that, and everything was just fun.
Absolutely. We got Dynasty Pylon in the house. What's up, Martin? He was in this draft. This is a Victoria's V in the 1 spot when we get to it here. So welcome. What's up, brother? And he's saying, that's right. Put some IDP in it. So of course, loving the IDP, doing an IDP draft myself right now. Nice. A 40-round Dynasty startup. 3 linebackers, 3 DBs, 2 defensive linemen, 2 IDP flex. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun, man. I haven't played IDP, man, since like Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman were things. It's been a while, but I'm getting back into it, man. I remember why I love it. So for those of you guys who are out there, man, jumping in some IDP, the best way to do it is just to jump in it. You'll learn on the fly, man. If you play regular fantasy, it's the same thing. You're just now paying attention to these defensive guys. It's still stats. You're just looking at different columns now. You'll figure it out. It's a lot of fun, and just brings a whole different, element to the game, especially on the Dynasty side. It's a lot of fun. So definitely check it out, man. So again, check out the description. Get there, man. Subscribe to the channel, subscribe to us. We see the chat's going crazy right now, so I'm gonna kind of just get to it real quick, and then we'll get to these grades. Let's see, we got Wilson in the house, we got them boys in the house saying what's up. We were a little late, so he was saying, come on, let's get going. Looks like we got one of your boys in the house, Ronald Kala.
What up,
is
Ron?
that Ronald there?
Yeah.
So he's saying nice, love finding new streams. I'm from over at the Hustlers channel, so appreciate you sending that out, of course, on your medias as well. We're getting new viewers in here, so again, hit that subscribe button for us. That's what we're here for. We're all supporting each other, man. And again, this mock is crazy. We have it's like an all-star cast, man. It was like a lot of us, either analysts, writers, other podcasters, other shows. We were all in here, so it was a real just gritty mock. So we definitely can't wait to get into it. There we go, man. We got a new subscriber. Love it. Appreciate it. That's what it is, Hustler, man. We really appreciate it. Love it, man. We got Mike in the house, Classic in the house, saying welcome to the show, Alex. He wants to be on next time, so he's on that East Coast. He's probably in bed right now. Shout out to the Mrs. Herrick over there. Hope she's recovering well. She might be out there watching too. Again, chat's going crazy, man. We got Will saying what's up, guys. We love it in here.
What up,
He's
Will?
from there too. Appreciate it. What up, man? And he said I nailed the last name, man. I try to pride myself on that, so that's really good. So again, just keep them coming, man. Questions, comments, just love it. If I missed it, just type it in again. We'll get to it. So for the time being, man, let's just get into this thing already. Ooh, of course I messed it up here. I usually got my guy producing. I've been kind of a little delayed here on the production end, but we got it going, man. You know how us small timers do it.
Yep. It's got to find your way. That's all it is.
We'll find our way through it. Absolutely, man. So let's get to this mock here, man. Like we said, it's a 12-team Superflex PPR redraft. We have Victorious V, who's Martin in the one spot here. And we'll break it down, man. 101 goes Josh Allen in the Superflex. He goes Stephon Diggs for his wide receiver one. Follows it up with Swift and then ETN in the third and fourth. Goes Matt Ryan in the fifth. AJ Dillon in the sixth. Follows that up with Mike Williams as his wide receiver two. Down in the seventh. Feel that was a pretty good value there. Goes Dawson Knox as his tight end. Drake London has his wide receiver three. Michael Carter in the 10th. Isaiah Spiller in the 11th. Goes with Ritter in the 12th. Crowder and then Campbell. But I think his Crowder pick was supposed to be Alec Pierce. But instead he came back and took Campbell because I snatched him with my pick before he can get back to him. So I had to do him dirty like that. But yeah, so tell me what you think about this draft, man, in the one spot.
So for me, I guess my beef is maybe Swift being the number one, Ryan being the number two QB, and then Ritter. I mean, I know that. I mean, that's like some insurance. Like if I'm gonna have Ritter, it'd have to be like as my fourth QB because there's a good chance he doesn't play throughout the entire season. But this would be like a C or a C plus for me. I kind of don't like Mike Williams being the second wide receiver either. Just I mean, some question marks. I mean, but I don't know. I'm not as high on Mike Williams as other people, but I do like ETN and Dillon and Mike Carter and Spiller could be some things, but yeah, I think this could be one that, if they're working the wire, it could be a potential playoff team, but yeah, I'm gonna give it a C, but I grade a little bit harder too. I grade on.
That's what we want. No, that's what we want, man. And it is tough in here. And it is really gritty, man. I don't think really any team to me just like stood out and said, this is a bomb team. Like you really had to kind of get in there and kind of see what you like, and how they kind of went, and everyone kind of just read the draft and got their picks in there. So to me, I was kind of a little bit on the other spectrum as far as like my builds and the way I like to play. I do like a lot of these pieces. So I like the core that he has. So it's something I would work with. again, I'm not ranking the team based on like projections or anything like that. It's just more so if this was an orphan league, which team do I want to grab first if they're all available? So to me, this was the second team that I would want to grab, just based on what it has and its contents, its construction. As far as like a letter grade, I'd be probably in that like B minus, type range because there is a little holes. But for me, it was definitely something I felt like I could work with, and just like the way I play. So that's where I'm at. I think Mike had it at a B minus, and it was his eighth ranked team. So he was, a little closer to your spectrum there. He liked his, QBs and the Diggs and Allen stack, and said he is coming around on ETN a little bit, but still has his, concern with that injury. And of course the news with, James Robinson coming as well. So just quickly, I'm sure Mike wants to know what are your quick thoughts on ETN and the injury?
So I'm a little bit more on the upside. I mean, I would rather take the chance on him. I mean, he got hurt so early in the preseason. He's had a lot of time to recover. And man, I mean, if him and Trevor are just on the same page, which, going back to their college days, they really were, like, that dude could really be a beast. And I know that Robinson, he's going to eat into it a little bit, but that dude's special. We didn't get to see him play last year. And I'm not hyping him up to the moon like I hear some people. I mean, I've heard some people like having him like ranked in the top 10, but I have him ranked as a high-end RB2 as of now. And, he could be an RB1 in a lot of weeks.
Yeah. That got me thinking. I kind of wanted to see where I had him. I have him at RB18.
Yeah, so I probably got him a few ticks higher than you.
Oh, okay. So, and I even consider that like pretty high on him as well too. So I think, we're probably right about in there. Obviously there is the concern. But I think, as far as that, potential, that's there, you're talking, Swift, Eckler, type receiving upside. So
Definitely.
again, how do you want to take your risk, right? And that RB2 position, like we are just kind of talking about when we came on air, before we came on air, if you can get a high boom in that spot, that could potentially be a league winner for you if you get enough value.
Yeah, and he's going late fourth, early fifth. I mean, in the super flex. I mean, not a crazy amount of risk, baked in there.
Right, exactly. And Martin is in here saying he does have that Matt Ryan and Paris Campbell stack as well too. So
Yeah.
shout out to that. And yeah, no, rewind it. I did give you that credit there. I called myself out for taking him there for you because you fat fingered it, but it's all good, brother. It's all good. All right, man. So let's get into this next team here. We have a classic Mike, one of our own here in the 2 spot. He came out with the 2 QBs just right off the bat with Herbert and Carr. Stacked Adams with Carr in the 3rd. Then he goes Brees Hall as his RB1 in the 4th, followed by Josh Jacobs in the 5th. So he kind of has that Vegas stack there. Then he goes Sutton in the 6th as his wide receiver 2, followed by Miles Sanders, who I think is being a little slept on. And he's kind of one of my favorite picks just because he didn't score any touchdowns last year. So to me, like, there's only way to go there is up, regression to the mean. So I like that pick. I think Gordon should start shooting up a little more unless we just start hearing, Javante's just killing it in camp. But I think that's a just great pick there if you want a piece of that backfield. Then he goes Mills in the 9th. So not a bad QB3 there. One of the better QB3s here in this draft.
Yeah.
Then goes Zach Ertz in the 10th, followed by Christian Kirk, Landry, and then Patrick in the 11th, 12th, and 13th, and then rounds it out with the second tight end and Gerald Everett now with the Chargers in the 14th. So how you feeling with classic Mike's team here?
So maybe a tiny tick up from the other one that we saw. And I mean, it's probably because of the QBs here. I mean, Herbert and Carr, I mean, that's a pretty nasty QB stack right at the top. I mean, I guess my beef is with the running backs here. I mean, I don't know if I'd want Brees Hall as my number 1. I mean, chose Jacobs back to back. So, I mean, I guess those guys are like interchangeable on his team as the number 1. Obviously, I mean, going to damn near, 0 RB strategy. I feel like no RBs in the first 4 rounds, like a true 0 RB. So he kind of went that route. The wide receivers do make me a little nervous outside of Adams. I know we only got to start 2 of them, so I mean it's going to be pretty easy either way to fit that wide receiver 2 spot. But this is like a C plus, like B minus to me, like just kind of right on that tier.
There you go. To me, it was hard, man. I was kind of going back and forth between Mike's team here and Martin's team, and just to me having that kind of third QB, little bit of just safety net, just in case Well, I mean, if anything happens to these guys, you're pretty much done anyway. But I do like being able to kind of stay on top of that bye week and having that quarterback still in that super flex spot. Has fairly good running back depth here. I like, of course, the first 2 wide receivers. The other 3 are kind of a little suspect. But to me, again, just it's a nice safe team for me. It came in as the number 1 if I was going to orphan it. So I had the 1 and 2 spot here come just back to back flip flopped as my number 2 and number 1 ranked team.
And see, it's crazy because like if you go by the numbers, and we're talking like all fantasy football, because I know that a lot of times I throw out these numbers and everyone's like, well, that doesn't really happen for my league. Notoriously, the number 1 and the number 2 spot come away with the most championships. Now, that's not always the rule, but we're talking like literally every single league out there. And it's because they have the highest picks in the third round. You got 3 guys inside the top 25, top 26 picks. I mean, that's what makes a difference if you really hit the top 3.
Right. Exactly. And it is there. Of course, like you said, you're going to get those teams where it's like, oh, our number 4 ranked team always, ends up, is the one who wins the championship. But, like you said, you are getting that top talent. And as long as it hits, you're pretty much set. Interestingly, though, enough, like usually these first 2 teams aren't my favorite teams, like in a lot of the Superflex mocks we've done so far. But I think as guys are shifting, the cream is kind of rising to the top, and you're seeing the potential with these 2, first picks. So that's good. I think Mike doesn't rank his team, so we'll move on to the next one. So we got Ravery here. His name's Rick. We know him on Twitter. Hopped onto Underdog Best Ball with us over with the Fantasy Whispers the other day too. So shout out for that. We appreciate it, Rick. We know you're going to be watching later. But he came out here with Mahomes in the 1, followed by Rodgers in the 2nd. Then he goes Kelsey to get that Mahomes Kelsey stack, which I think is nice there. Then goes Akers, Metcalf, and then Edwards as his RB2, followed by Cooks, Kareem Hunt in the 7th and 8th, Devontae Smith in the 9th, Alan Lazard in the 10th, Deshaun Watson here in the 11th, and I'm sure we can spend just a second on that. Then he goes Madison in the 12th, followed by Alberto in the 13th, and then finishes up with Palmer, who I think is a nice little just dart throw there at the end in the 14th. So break it down. What you think on this one?
So anyone who picks Watson right now, you almost need to get bumped down a little bit. Just practice. And like if we were practicing, if we were doing a real draft, I don't know how much I'd be taking him just as of right now. And I'm guilty of taking him in dynasties that started earlier. Right now it's just like the worst time that you can draft him because we know something's going to happen soon, but we don't know what. I love the first 4 picks there. Even DK in the 5th is nice, but I'd be really nervous having CEH as my number 2. So but docking a few points there. Cooks and Devonta Smith. Those guys are nice as like number 2s. What wins it here for me is the Mahomes and Rodgers, stack. A super flex stack like that.
Yeah.
Kelsey at the number 3. And we have a tight end spot here in this mock. In the leagues that I do a lot of tight end premium. I remove the tight end spot though. I add in the extra flex. So it does make those guys at the top a little bit heavier, but also makes it to where those bottom teams, whoever has the number 12 and 11 tight end, it's like those guys can't even compete sometimes. And I almost want to take that out of there to where
it's a good little idea.
Doesn't exist anymore,
I like that.
You can still have the tight end, but now in this tournament that we're doing, everyone gets tight ends get 2 points compared to everyone's 1 point for reception. So even those mid-level tight ends, you might be in a pinch with 4 flex spots and maybe start 1 or 2 of them.
Exactly. Oh, that's good, man. I was kind of, to me down there on this team, it came in as my 9th ranked team. I think he killed it with the first 3 picks, and then it just kind of, you know, first 2 just kind of started winding down, and then I mean, I like the guys individually, but the way they all kind of came together, the construction just didn't feel like it kind of meshed well to me. Not something I was really too comfortable with. There is obviously a lot of upside and potential with it. Obviously, the Watson to me is just kind of a throwaway pick now, with what is going on. Obviously facing a, year suspension. They're thinking Jacoby Brissett's going to be the guy, which of course is going to, adjust Cooper. But again, to me, it just came in as, my ninth ranked team. But I do want to, talk about that. What are your thoughts on kind of Cooper? Because I was working on my rankings here before we came on, and I just kept dropping Cooper just kind of down and down and down. And I kind of don't know really where to settle him in if Brissett's the QB1. So how do you feel about him?
I guess I still feel like, I mean, if it's Watson, he's more like a high end, wide receiver too. I mean, without Watson, kind of have him down, close to a low end wide receiver 2 or a high end wide receiver 3, but kind of like right around, so maybe somewhere between 23 and 26, like off the top of my head, but I keep fluctuating him as well. But I mean, we saw it when Dak wasn't there. He's still going to eat. Like, he's still talented enough. I mean, the talent is there. But Jacoby Brissett, is he going to be able to get him the ball? I mean, I think he's going to be able to force feed him a little bit because they really don't have anybody else there right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
do they just run it though? Do does he even see 100 targets? I mean,
they got it. You can't be that one dimensional to where they're never throwing it. And with like nobody out there, I mean, even if Brissett only throws it 15 to 20 times, I feel like at least 33% of it are going to him. So of their shitty, target market share, he's probably like a 30% guy.
Interesting. Now, the thing I just kind of realized too, as you were talking about that, I kind of was thinking, what's the difference really right now between Mari Cooper and DK Metcalf? Because I looked at my rankings, I have DK Metcalf at 14, basically in a similar exact situation, and I have Cooper actually as my wide receiver 30. So I'm just a few spots off of your, kind of off the top of the head. That's why I kind of had him fall in. I actually have Cooper. I like the decision I made to move him from 29 down to 30 was I think I want Juju a little more than I would want Cooper. Or am I just crazy?
No, I mean, we want anybody like attached to Patrick Mahomes like that, and especially like we don't know who's going to. Well, outside of Kelsey, we know Kelsey's going to be Mahomes' number 1, but we don't know if it's going to be Hardman taking the step up or if Juju's just going to get in there in the mix and be like the number 2 guy in targets. But yeah, I'm not really drafting Juju too many places, but if it came to both of them, I guess I'd probably rather have Juju because he's going later than Cooper is. So really just the value.
Okay. Yeah, and Ronald in here, and shout out to Ronald. I guess he's been on some other drafts too with the Whispers, and all of our communities here, Ingram, you know what I'm trying to say. They're mixing together here. It's a lot of love going on, and we love getting in those mocks. But Ronald's in here saying, he's in that kind of same range where we are. So what is it? It's a little crazy, of course, but it's definitely number 1. But we have no idea who KC will be. So that's what he's saying, to my, whole Juju thing. So it's just, it's interesting, man, when you kind of just really, figure out where you want to, kind of have these guys in. A couple other guys I have ahead of them too are Darnell Mooney, Rashad Bateman, and Hollywood Brown, and even Allen Robinson. I have, ahead of and Gabe Davis. Actually, I have at 27 ahead of Cooper. I'd rather have Gabe Davis over Cooper right now.
And everything could change. I mean, that's what's cool about this. So, I mean, yeah, if we find out that Watson's there, Cooper's going to make it
of course
again. But there's too much moving right now.
Absolutely. But that's why we love doing this, man. Following this stuff, riding these waves. It's perfect. So anyway, I digress. But that was good. I love, picking the brains, of course, of, getting some different takes in here from different guys. So, again, hit us in the comments. Let us know what you guys are thinking as well. So we'll get into the 4th team here, man. We have in the 1-4 spot, we have Kyler Murray as the QB4 coming off the board before guys like Burrow and Jackson and Hurts. Then we go Mixon, followed by Andrews. Then we go David Montgomery in the 4th, followed by Jalen Waddle in the 5th, Elijah Mitchell in the 6th. Then hits Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 7th, followed by Danny Dimes in the 8th. Goes Gabe Davis, who we were just talking about, in the 9th, James Cook in the 10th. Goes Chase Edmonds in the 11th. Kadarius Toney in the 12th. Little Sky Moore action there in the 13th. His hype train's starting to really get going now too.
Yeah.
And then we got Gus Bus here in the 14th. So Celiano, he's part of the one of the podcasters in here. So shout out to him here. I think I have it here on my show sheet. Where is he at? He's part of the Fantasy Football with My Friends on Apple Podcasts. So him and Ben Bowman, who's here in the 7th spot. Shout out to them over there for their podcast. So tell me what you think about this team in the 4th spot. Only rocking 2 QBs right out of the gate. Goes tight end early in the Superflex League. Where you at?
So this is not one of my favorite teams. It is
Okay.
really not out of all of these. I don't like the construction too much. A lot of it comes down to those QBs. I mean, we could split hairs on Kyler Murray. I mean, I picked Burrow, and I'd rather have Burrow or Jackson over Murray, but I guess that's subjective. They're all kind of in the same range. I do like Mixon and Montgomery, but outside of that, I mean, the rest just kind of loses me. Like I really don't want Waddle as my number 1, but I'm not too mad at it. Amon-Ra, super nervous about him. I guess I would have rather had a guy like Allen Robinson, over him in that same spot. And
Right.
I call him Danny Pesos. That's what we call him on our team because Danny is way too valuable for him. You got to cut that in half. But
all his dimes fell out when the turf monster got him.
No way I want him being my number 2. I mean, number 3, that's something different, because then he's just, icing on the cake with some, maybe just mix him in your bye weeks. But I would not want him being my number 2 QB, just really wouldn't. And then no number 3 QB to back it up. So no real insurance. Like you're really, really banking on him. And I do like the Gabe Davis. I mean, Cook, kind of whatever. Same with Edmonds. Maybe those guys do something, maybe they don't. But not a fan of this team in general. It'd probably be more of like a C-, like potentially even D+. Like that's how much the QBs make a difference in these super flexes. If you had a 3rd QB to mix in with Danny Pesos, I probably wouldn't grade it so low. But just having 2 QBs and that's it. If anything goes wrong with that, like this team doesn't even compete.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we're a big proponent on that as well too of having that 3rd QB in a super flex. Sometimes if you have, like to me, when you have like a Mahomes Rodgers, like if you're fine for those 2 weeks, again, if one of those guys goes down, you have so much invested that it doesn't matter anyway. So and our one of the leagues, listener leagues we had last year, the guy who won with only Dak. He had another wide receiver in his he did have Debo and Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams as well. But but even still, he still won it with just the 1 QB. And I'm kind of seeing that, more and more, kind of happen. Especially when you're playing in these, PPR leagues, if you do hit on those receivers like that. So to me, I was down there as well. I had it as a 7. And just because there are some pieces here that I really like, and I feel like, if I had this team, and again, I'm not ranking it based on like projections, what it could do, playoff aspirations, just, is this a team I would kind of take over? And I feel there's enough high end pieces there that I can kind of part out and, do some things with to, make this team, still compete. So it wasn't too far down. I had it as a 7.
I like them boys comment there at the end. That one's funny.
There we go. Finally a D grade. These guys have gotten soft with their grades lately. Bring them back to reality, Alex. Love it. See, and that's what we're saying, man. And that's why I've kind of gotten away from the grades and I'm going with this ranking because it forces me to put someone at 12. I can't just, take the easy way out. I have to actually, put these things, in an order and, dish out those lower marks, and just again call it like you see it. So again, we appreciate you bringing the truth back, brother.
Yeah, and this is all for practice anyways.
Yeah.
Like we I mean, if we're not going to be super critical during practice, you're probably not going to be super critical during game time. So got to get
right
now.
Exactly. And again, this is nothing personal. We're here just having fun, man, on a Friday night, trying stuff out. But again, it is competitive and, we all got something to prove. We all want to, have our team be the best. So I still take it serious, whether I have, $300 for 500, 1,000, or, just for pride, I take it the same way, no matter what.
Yeah.
probably my problem. That's why we're all doing this.
Hell yeah.
Those belts matter more to me than the cash.
Oh, for sure.
And I saw you bring out the belt on your stream the other day.
Yeah,
I love it.
Let me bring it out because I got this custom belt made from what is it? I always forget. Yeah, Snaps and Straps Inc.
There you go.
Love
See,
it.
part of the Get Right fam already, man.
Yeah.
There it is. Love it, dude. Yeah. So I wish I had mine and I should have brought it. I should have brought it out here, man. But it's it's in my bed. It's right next to my bed, so that's where I keep it. Like to me, that's where it.
And for any of those who are like old school, like wrestling fans, this is like the old school Stone Cold, like championship belt style. It's got the rattlesnake.
Oh, no way. That is what's up, man. Oh, yeah. See, I love it, man. Belts are the way to go. Rings are cool. Lombardi trophies are cool, man. But a belt, that's just to me, that's the ultimate thing to play for.
And this dude, he goes by the Real Belt Collector. He's on Instagram, and he makes belts for he does all. He already had like the plates and all for all these replicas. But for a lot of the independent, wrestling, programs and whatever, he does a lot of belts for them. Even Impact, he does a lot of Impact belts. So this dude's the shit. They're not that cheap, but we talk about one of like the dopest belts like you're ever gonna have for your league. This is it.
That's what's up right there. I do want to get to this question real quick too, and we'll let you take it. How hard is Debo and CPAT drop in drafts after losing their positional eligibility on Sleeper? So as I'm sure you guys know, Sleeper made the decision to take away the dual designation for these guys. Debo is now listed as wide receiver, and CPAT is now listed as running back only. So I think they got that wrong, actually.
Yeah, super weird the way that they did that, because they should have just waited, because all the chatter is, obviously Debo, that he's going to be doing more wide receiver stuff. So only wide receiver stuff, not as much running back stuff. So I think that one was fine. That doesn't drop him. Him having the running back, that raises him, but I don't even think really that much, because you'd rather have him in at your wide receiver spot more often than not. But Corduroy, he's more valuable as a running back than a wide receiver, really. But they said that he's gonna not have as big of a running back role either. It's gonna be more wide receiver stuff. So I think they just pulled the trigger a little bit too early on this. They probably should have waited to hear some more news, but they got to make a decision now, because there's a shit ton of drafts happening. So
they
made a decision now.
I know, and I've already invested in him in a couple, best ball, on Underdog. So I'm interested to see how they end up doing it. But I think actually on Underdog, he's only listed as a wide receiver there, actually, or is it running back? I have to remember now.
Sleeper is one of the ones that has a dual designation. Most just had both of these guys as wide receivers. I think Yahoo had Corduroy as both, but
okay. Yeah. So
we call him Corduroy Pimpin'. So
there you go.
I keep calling him Corduroy.
I love it. I've heard it before, so it's all good. I love it. And I'm just a CPAT guy because I don't want to get into all those syllables. So I fumble enough. Obviously we got a lot of people shouting out the belt there. I don't know if you saw the we'll bring him back up. The champ is here. Nice belt, King.
Yeah.
Them boys in there saying that belt's fire.
Yeah.
Ronald in here saying he's very down on Debo.
Ron's an Eagles fan, though, so he's down
on okay. I'm a Niners fan too, by the way.
Perfect.
So remember I was telling you your guy Bogart over there. We hit it off over there too. I love him repping the Niners over there. So we'll see how it is. We'll take a discount on Ayuk, and that's actually a guy I kind of like grabbing late as Ayuk. We all remember Ayuk was being drafted, well ahead of Debo, kind of like 4th round last year.
Hell yeah.
And Debo is the one that fell to the 7th that ended up obviously popping. Ayuk came through at the end, which is how he finished the end of the last season. So again, if you can just get him late now and get some good value with the arm that Trey Lance has, there is some opportunity there. So we'll see how that gets going. Let's see. And Scott saying Patterson's going to wide receiver. Why are they changing now? Just wait till it's final. But Patterson's going to play both. Of course, you mentioned anything about the Eagles. Dustin's going to come in and say, boo the Eagles. Dustin's my brother-in-law, also one of the analysts here on Get Right. What's up, Dustin? Hopefully we'll get him on here with you one day as well too. But yeah, now we got Will in here saying Rams house. I think he fired that off earlier. And
Yeah.
as a Niners fan, I don't think I brought that up. No, but it was just bad timing. But I just wanted to give you that shout out. You did. I did see that earlier, but we were getting bombarded with chats up there, so I wanted to let it go through. We get Dim Boys, of course, and Dustin is a Cowboys fan, so he and Dim Boys get along a little bit.
Oh, I couldn't tell. I couldn't.
Yeah,
tell
no. So there it is. All right, man. So let's see. Where were we? I think we're here on the fifth team. We're doing okay on time. Fifth team, about the half hour mark, little past. We're doing all right. So we got Wilson here, one of the big ambassadors for Get Right. He hooks us up, helps us arrange, a lot of these guests we've been having on lately. He's one of our, biggest ambassadors for the brand. So again, just a big shout out to Wilson. I love everything he does here for the channel. And coming in this mock here with us, he goes the first person to skip over on that QB in the Superflex and grabs JT in the fifth spot. Followed it up with the second running back in Dalvin Cook. Then goes CeeDee Lamb in the third. Grabs his RB3 and James Conner in the fourth. Finally grabs his QB1 and Tua down here in the fifth. Goes Deontay Johnson as his wide receiver 2 in the sixth, followed by Mac Jones in the seventh. Hawkinson in the eighth. CPAT, who we were just talking about, in the ninth. Goes a little Bobby Trees action in the 10th. Mitch Trubisky at the 11th. Michael Gallup in the 12th. AJ Green in the 13th. And then rounds it out with Mark Ingram in the 14th. So what you thinking about our first non-QB, almost zero QB
I'm thinking, hey, Mr. Wilson, where you at with those QBs? That's what I'm thinking. Because, man, I mean, I don't have anything against Tua, but if he's like your number one, and then Mac Jones, really just no upside with Mac Jones. I mean, he's super consistent, but he's not going to lose you any weeks, but he's probably not going to win you too many weeks either, being the super flex, and Trubisky being the number 3. I mean, the guy who's most likely not to be the starter for the entire season, with them spending the draft capital on Pickett. This is, I mean, kind of like the last team. I'd say this is like a C-, D+ team. I mean, I do like the running backs there, but is it going to be enough? I mean, Connor's probably going to regress, so I mean, he's not going to give you that 18 touchdowns, out of your flex like he did last year. More than likely, if he does, I mean, a lot of people are going to be laughing all the way to the bank on that, but
right.
Yeah, the QBs, I mean, it's really what drives it all the way down for me. Tua could boom, but he could easily just be like a mid-level QB2, and this team is just going to be nothing special.
Okay. I'm pretty much right there with you. Dim Boy saying Bobby Tree's the best value in Dynasty this year. Yeah, not bad.
Getting
him real late. Yeah, super late. But yeah, so I'm kind of down there with you. This came in as my 11th ranked team. Again, in a super flex, I need a little more, from that. I need at least one QB before you're taking your RB3. Especially with how kind of devalued that running back position is now. And especially, in a PPR league. I think there's guys down there that could suffice again at that RB2 spot that you can kind of, sacrifice to, get that, bump in difference with that, QB, positional advantage there, especially having 2, top guys. Like you said, I don't mind Tua probably as my QB2. I would love him as a QB3. But, that is a lot of risk, you're taking. And to me, Wilson, I've seen you draft much better than this, my guy. So, again, 11th ranked team, and I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but like we said, man, we got to be tough. And this is not, for the new people looking, this is not how you draft a super flex team.
And maybe he was pushing off QBs on purpose. Maybe he was practicing, that way. And if you were just, this probably isn't the best strategy.
Right. Yeah, it didn't work. And I was working on getting my camera back there. If anybody did say that, hopefully I'm good to go. Hopefully you guys were still hearing me there.
You were good. Yeah.
I was good on there. All right.
Your
perfect.
picture was frozen for like a half a second.
All right. At least I wasn't making like a too funny of a face or anything. So I think we're good. All right. So there we are, man. Not too big on that one, Wilson. Come back. I know you'll be back next week. Do a little better and we'll get there. So here we go, man. Man of the hour. He's here. We're in the 6th spot. one of my favorite kind of positions in a super flex this year. It's kind of like just crossfire going on from each end of the draft, and you're just kind of in the middle, just plunking players. You're just kind of getting that, trying to find that value in between each one, each team or each strategy. And to me, I think you built a nice team here. You go Burrow in the first, Brady in the second, to just show up those two QBs like you're talking about. Then once you do that, your QB3 doesn't really matter as much, but the fact that you still got a serviceable, Jared Goff, down here in the eighth, isn't bad. Nick Chubb is your RB1, so that's fine there. I love the stack with T. Higgins. Then you go Michael Pittman, who, I love this year. I think he has, top 12, maybe even a little higher potential there. I mean, he had 100 something targets, and the next closest person to him had like 60 something targets. I mean, and we know Matt Ryan loves throwing to his number one.
Third year breakout. I really expect a third year breakout from Pittman.
Yeah, it really is coming, and he seems like a cool guy, man. He has like his own like YouTube thing as well, and I probably don't need to really be hyping Michael Pittman, his YouTube channel. He don't really pay me for it, but he seems like we're pretty like down to earth, hardworking kind of dude, So when you start watching that kind of stuff, it makes you kind of really like him, a little more. You're kind of seeing them from a different, different aspect versus just the numbers. You kind of see the guy behind it, so it kind of just makes me like him a little more. Then goes Jerry Judy. There's people like it seems like on both sides of the fence with this guy. I like him. I actually spent a first rounder to pick him up. This was prior to the groin injury in camp. But hey, those things happen.
We assume he's still going to be all right.
I mean that's what we're basing it off of when we're drafting here in June. And then you go Singletary as your RB2. We talked about Goff in the eighth there. And then you go Goddard in the ninth. And then Penny, who I think is kind of being slept on. We obviously know why. But I think it's a great, RB3 to have. I wouldn't, make him your RB1 or anything. But you got him here in the 10th. And then you go Tyler Lockett, Devontae Parker, Mecole Hardman, and round it out with JD McKissick in the 14th, which is real good value there. So you want to give a little, how'd you feel about this team?
So, I mean, I like it. I was super happy. I mean, in the Superflex leagues, the RB2 is probably going to be one of my weaker spots always. And it's just because, I mean, these RBs, I mean, they get hurt so much. There's going to be a lot of shuffling going on, and I'm always going to be working the waiver wire like nobody's business. So that's why I went a little bit more wide receiver heavy in the fourth through the 6 rounds after locking up the 2 QBs and the running backs. I mean, Goff, I mean, really him, Davis Mills, Jameis Winston. I mean, guys like that. Matt Ryan, he went a little earlier than I wanted. Than I want to grab him in most leagues, but trying to grab one of those guys as a QB3, someone serviceable. And I mean, Singletary is kind of whatever. So is Penny. The craziest thing about Penny, we saw it last year. He one of his games, he cracks off like an 18-yard run just to like start the game, and immediately goes right into the blue tent. So that's the thing that
it's the most
it could happen with him at any given second. He could be in that blue tent and out for the game.
Exactly. Between him and Mostert, it's like who's gonna get hurt first. Every time there should be like a prop bet on that every year. Dim Boy saying Sutton over Judy, he'll die on that hill. I think I have to agree with you, but I definitely want a piece of that offense. Either way I can get it.
Yeah, and where'd Sutton go in this draft? I'm looking for that. Let's see.
Sutton went to, I believe, Classic Mike in the 2 in the 6th.
So I picked him a couple picks above Sutton.
Right.
Yeah, so they're going pretty much right in the same range. And I am usually drafting Sutton over Judy. Well, not over Judy, but I'm usually trying to get Sutton more because it's better value.
There you go. And again, they basically once one goes, the other one goes. So it really just depends on whatever draft you're in, whichever guy he likes. And again, we're saying it's more Wilson style. You could argue that all you want. What you have to remember is Wilson's a pretty accurate, quarterback. And Jerry Judy is probably like, just go back and watch his film, man. He's like one of the most, like, he's a technician when it comes to running routes. Like, and again, that maybe I need to give, Amari Cooper a little more credit, for that as well, especially when you're working with quarterbacks that aren't that great. Once you move to great and you have a great receiver that can run those type of routes, like if you're open and Wilson sees that, like, why is he going to go throw a jump ball to Sutton when Judy's just sitting wide open? and he can make that read and hit him. So again, I want pieces of both of them. I have them both in best ball. I'll just kind of alternate between each two. I don't think you really could go wrong, with either one, and they're basically kind of going in that same round.
And both, and this was by design. Pittman and Judy, I really think those guys are like two of the biggest candidates for a huge third-year breakout. So
Nice.
if I could stack both of those guys and both of those guys somehow have this third-year breakout and boom, this team would be amazing.
Exactly. So there it is. And again, it's really no bias. Like, again, if you would have had a terrible team, I would have been the first one to tell you. For me, it came in as my number 3 ranked team. It was just, again, like I said, a lot of pieces that I like. The way you constructed it, I feel like I could work with it. And again, if it was available, I would take it. I just think the running backs for my 1 and 2 teams were a little bit stronger, and just having a little more security there for me in that RB2 position without, and again, if it was 3 wide receiver league, I think you take it like hands down. But since it is only 2, I think having that little bit more running back security is just, again, what just notched you down, from that number 1 spot to me. So very nice draft. Again, appreciate you coming on and doing the draft, and of course, being with me here tonight. So great team, man. Showing them how to do it.
Like Scott said, this draft gets a top shelf 420. I like it.
Exactly. Yeah. I hope you saw that up there. That was perfect. We'll throw it up there again. So there it is. And of course, they're saying Love Goddard, not as high as Penny. And then we kind of got into some of that other ones, that other stuff there. Of course, Ronald chiming in, love it, man. And he's saying the opposite. Why throw short when you could just hit something deep? And again, I'm not hating on that either, man. And he's saying he can do it too.
We're going to see a good mix of both of them.
It's going to be good, man. They both could be, again, I could see Wilson throwing for 4,000 or 5,000 yards potentially, depending on how high flying they want that offense. And again, because of the play action threat, I think that's why there's the opportunity to have those kind of numbers, because there's could be the potential for so many big plays. And again, watch out for Tim Patrick, because he's the speedster on this team.
Yeah.
I mean, don't be like, he might see he's again a sneaky pick way down late. If you can snag that Tim Patrick, again, if you can just get any piece of this offense, you want to take your chance on it. So there we go. All right. So again, appreciate that. We'll jump in here again, trying to be for the sake of time here. I don't want to overstay my welcome with you here.
You're good.
But we got Ben Bowman here again. Shout out to the who are they? The Fantasy Football with Friends podcast there. We have Ben drafted here in the 7th spot. He goes CMC, Derrick Henry, Trey Lance is his QB1, Aaron Jones is his RB3, grabs his first wide receiver in Scary Terry, then goes Hollywood Brown, followed by Trevor Lawrence as his QB2, grabs Renfro as his wide receiver 3, followed by Ayuk, who we were talking about. It's a nice late grab. Then goes Adam Thielen. Good value there to me. Ronald Jones, MVS, Tyler Boyd, and Evan Ingram. So where did you come out on this team here?
Man, I mean, the QBs, I mean, that's really what ruins everything for me here. I mean, I love the late value on Lawrence, but man, I mean, if it was me there, I just wouldn't have even drafted Lance. I would have just got another QB in another round or two, and maybe just got a little heavier on the wide receiver, because I'm really just not a huge believer in Lance like a lot of people are, thinking that he's going to be a QB1 just right out of the gate when he literally didn't show us anything that leads me to believe that. I love the CMC and Henry stack. I mean, people can argue.
That's nasty.
Yeah, you can argue injuries all you want, but you're only injured until you aren't. And every running back can get, any player in the NFL could get hurt on any play and be done for the season. So love that stack. I love Jones, getting him in the 4th. Wide receiver, I guess that's all going to be subjective there, because McLaurin and Brown. I like Brown as the number 2. I'm okay having McLaurin as the number 1, but yeah, this is the skill positions bring it up, but the QBs bring it down. This is one of those C-, D+ teams that's kind of just wavering for me, and it's probably one of the lower ones, out of everything here. I love Thielen in the 10th. I love Ayuk in the 9th. So I mean, I like the late picks, but really do not like the starters here. All around, just as a whole.
Yeah, and it's tough. I think, instead of grabbing Henry there, I know it's hard to, not take Henry there. And again, really, like you said, it just really depends on what you really think of Lance and Lawrence, if they're going to make that next leap. Again, and I like it, more in redraft. obviously Dynasty, grabbing them is fine, of course, to watch that, build. But if you are, trying to compete here this year, it is just, I think Ronald was in here saying it's just a lot of risk.
Yeah.
I think he was saying just way, 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 way too much risk.
Yeah.
With a lot of these picks. Again, I like the individual pieces, so that's where I was kind of torn. I felt like I could do a lot with these pieces. To me, they are sellable assets. I'm sure you're like me. You love trading. You love, getting in there and just
Yep.
setting your roster up how you feel you want it. And I think he has the assets to, be able to do that. So that's why it kind of stayed. It was, I think, actually right in the middle for me. I came in as number 6. This was actually Mike's number 1 ranked team. And Mike, I apologize. I've been skipping. He put a lot of work in his rankings and grades and comments here, and I kind of just been going with the flow here with you. But he did have been here as his number 1 ranked team and had it as an A minus. And he actually hates CMC, but he was saying it was just as solid build. We do call him Classic Mike for a reason. And that's because he's saying the RBs are solid.
Yeah.
And he loves those just solid and consistent, wide receivers. So again, for him, he's willing to take that upside with the quarterbacks to have those other positions, really just kind of solidified again, barring injury.
That's why I like Superflex though over 1 QB, because you can win with multiple strategies. In
Right.
a single QB league, you either have running backs or you're not competing.
Right.
But that's what is so cool about Superflex. You mix in more guys in here, more flexes, and you can win with different strategies, and you can construct a lot of different ways.
Absolutely. So again, and that's what I'm saying is my rankings are just based on how I want to play the game. You may not want to play it like I do. I'm a big risk, big reward, kind of guy. So again, that's why it kind of really stayed up there, for me. Because like Ronald was saying, way, way too much risk, and I'm just
A lot of risk.
salivating, at the chops, just seeing what that, those dollar sign cartoony eyes is what I'm thinking. So
Yeah.
and I'm sure we'll have you on here, multiple times here, hopefully, if I could be so, honorable to have that. But
For sure.
we'll get your take, on CMC if you want to give, just a quick one. What's your? I think you're about to say something kind of about him, and I kind of went through, but I want to double back to that.
I mean, I don't have him as my number 2. For me, it's
Okay.
going to be Najee at that number 2 spot. So I mean, I would,
that's spicy.
I wouldn't have even picked CMC with this spot, but I like the value that he's going at, because in a lot of these super flex leagues, he's going in the 2nd round. I mean, we do see him randomly go in the 1st, mid 1st, late 1st, but I'm seeing him go in the 2nd round in these super flex, and I love that value, because if he stays healthy, he's going to be that guy again. Like, is he going to get 100 receptions? Probably not. But either way, like the workload that he's going to be,
It'll be there.
yeah, he's going to be a top 5 back again. Like as long as he stays healthy, we got to
Right.
keep saying that. That's the big asterisk next to
And
his
just
name.
remember, it was like he used to be the Iron Man. That was the knock on him coming out. Oh, he's too small. He's going to get hurt. But he
Yep.
only missed 1 game in college. I think he played for Stanford, right?
Yep, he did.
Only one. I'm not a real big college guy.
Me neither.
Just to put so I'm like just to put that out there, but pretty sure I know CMC went there. But he he only missed like 1 game, and it was up until just these last couple of years. Obviously, he's played only like 5 games in the last 2 seasons or something
Yeah.
crazy like that. But then you take those stats, and it's like he's scoring like 29 points per game, in PPR formats.
Yeah.
Like it's just unheard of. Like even with Jonathan Taylor, I think was only at 22 points per game in PPR last year. Between 22 and 24 or something like that. But it was just like he just blows it out of the water. So again, give me that upside. I'm taking that shot. I traded actually Dim Boys in that Dynasty IDP startup I was talking about. I made a move and traded Aaron Jones and Sutton for CMC. So
Nice.
we'll see how it pans out. I think it was a pretty good trade. As far as the value, he's obviously getting the quantity over quality. And I'm getting that, guy that could be a boom or big time backfire move. So again, that's like how I like to play.
That's what sucks right now is that, I mean, we're so focused on the injury because it's happened 2 years in a row. But yeah,
Right.
just like you said, I mean, damn near 30 points a game. That's the best thing about CMC is when he plays, he's like their entire offense. And then the worst thing about CMC is he's their entire offense. And so if he gets hurt, everything just like goes down with that team. And if he's not playing, it's probably screwing your team. So Yeah, super high risk, high reward. Like, it's funny because I'll always post things within that group and like, who's a player that you're not drafting no matter what, no matter what. And CMC and Henry are two of those big two. It burned me
Ooh.
so much last year, and I'm not going for it, but
Uh,
then there'll be a team like this who stack CMC and Henry because they're getting them at decent value, and then they stay healthy, and then that
just
team
run away with the league.
championship. Yeah.
Yeah, just run away with the league, literally and figuratively. No, that's good stuff, man. So again, I'm on that CMC side. I like it. So again, but that's why we play, man. Let's see how it all pans out, and where we go. So we got one of our original OGs, Calbeck here, in the what is this? The ace spot. He was one of our like original like fifth or sixth like subscriber to the channel. So it was his first mock of the season with us here this year. So shout out to Ethan there. He goes with Cooper Kupp, the first wide receiver off the board here in the eighth spot, followed by your guy Najee here in the second, and then goes Kirk Cousins as a QB1, followed by Keenan Allen in the fourth. Goes Alvin Kamara in the fifth, Ryan Tannehill in the sixth, Tony Pollard in the seventh. Swoops up Chris Godwin as his wide receiver 3. Then kind of doubles down on that after Kenny Pickett and goes Michael Thomas. So two guys who might start the season on the pup. Follows that up with Patty. I call him Patty P because the Fairmouth kind of makes that PH anyway. But Pat Fairmouth here in the 11th, or what is that? The 11th, yeah. Christian Watson in the 12th. Rashad White in the 11th, and then DJ Chark down here in the 14th, which I think is not bad value there. But overall, where are you coming in on this team?
All right, so Ethan, I mean, anyone who's like an original supporter, of a YouTube, extra shout outs, because it's not always the most coolest thing to be on a brand new channel, if you don't know they're good or not. But you made the right choice to stick around.
Now, and it's like, if you think we were rough now, like we were way rough then. So again, we really appreciate you sticking it out.
I believe it. And so I like what you did here with a lot of pieces, but man, this is like one of those C-, like D+ teams. And I mean, I don't mind Kirk Cousins being the number 1. I mean, I wouldn't prefer it because he's more like a high-end QB2, but still super safe. But Tannehill and Pickett being your 2 and 3, I mean, that's where it kind of loses me, because everything that we saw last year from Tennessee leads me to believe that whether Derrick Henry is healthy or not, they're just going to be grounding and pounding until the cows come home. So I would need to have a better QB3 if I'm going to go Tannehill, just a higher end QB3, not Pickett, someone who may or may not play. I mean, he still may not play.
We have the third team, I think they were saying today.
Yeah. So it's still early, and Trubisky, I mean, they didn't pay him $14 million to not let him play one game, at all. And Tomlin's a good coach. So if Trubisky doesn't like outright lose the job because he's throwing interceptions, Pickett maybe doesn't play. The Kamara Thomas stack there, I mean, man, if Kamara misses 6 games, like it's going to suck only having Tony Pollard and Rashad White, backing this up. So really just like the bets aren't hedged here. And if you're going to go like high risk with someone like Kamara, who may miss 6 games, like you got to have a couple other guys besides just Tony Pollard, to back him up. And same thing with Chris Godwin. If he starts the season on the pup or something, and Michael Thomas, doesn't start, I mean, you do have Kupp and Allen, which is freaking amazing, but then your flexes, you really have like no solid flexes like right out the gate. So, and I like the Muth, with the late tight end pick. I mean, he should be solid there either way. But yeah, I like the pieces here, just the total construction, a lot of high risk.
Yeah, and that's how it is too. And it's, again, credit to him. Like you said, it is, it is the first mock that he did of the season. So he's just kind of shaking the rust off, from last year.
You only get better.
Exactly. And that's why you do it. He's probably just seeing the names and wondering why, they're falling so far. I mean, I know he stays on top of his football, but, he's probably just, kind of maybe looking at it more from the playoff, and maybe if he makes some moves and just at least kind of sneaks into the playoffs, it would be a nice team to contend with if all those things lined up. But like you said, just too much risk for me. If you're going to take risks, take it at, one spot or 2 spots, kind of figure that out where you're going to do it. But don't just load every pick with, all this, risk. It's like you might as well throw D-Hop and, Deshaun Watson and basically everybody on this team and just, have it be literally the boom or bust team
Yeah.
If you're going to do that. So again, I don't mind taking a, Godwin here or Mike Thomas there, and Alvin Kamara if he falls, in your draft and you want to, swoop him up. If you're looking at Alvin Kamara or like, someone like really, I mean, like Chase Edmonds, right? Like I'm going to take Kamara, and they really only went, a few picks, after one another, really. Um, you know, he'd have to fall one more round for me really to, kind of touch him. And if you are, at least go through and grab Ingram, and he still
Yeah.
had the opportunity instead of grabbing DJ Chark here down at the end or even Rashad White,
Yeah.
just grab Ingram right there and at least solidify that. Ingram produced when Kamara wasn't there last year. So again, if you are going to do that, just kind of know those little stacks that if you are going to, reach a little bit and grab Kamara early, make sure you come back and get Ingram. If you are going to go grab Godwin, make sure you find a spot and at least grab Gage. Kind of hedge your bet, on some of these things. Because
Michael
again,
Thomas, get Chris Olave or Jarvis Landry, double up those guys.
exactly, at least kind of have somebody there if you're trying, if you want a piece of that offense, and then when that guy comes, you're going to have them. And it kind of works out. But yeah, overall, I wasn't feeling it too much. But like I said, I think there were some pieces that you could kind of move. Ultimately, I think it came in as my number 8 ranked team. So again, it was on the bottom half. Mike had him at number 9. So again, we all had it, fairly down. But again, Ethan knows that. He knows what he's doing. Just you're shaking the rust off, seeing where guys are falling, and he'll be back up here getting the A's here in no time. So here we go, man. We'll back half, man, and we'll power through the rest of it here, and get off this thing. But we got let's see, the 9th spot. Luck is my deaf, or Luck is made FF, and this was actually this was I believe. I think this was Kyle's team. Yes, so this was Kyle Lindemann's team from RotoBaller. He was on the stream with Mike last Friday. So again, shout out to Kyle. Shout out to RotoBaller. He's a writer over there. Check out his articles. Again, it's all in the description there. So he goes, with 2 quarterbacks right off the bat, with Lamar Jackson and Matt Stafford. Pretty, love it right there. Goes Javonte Williams as your RB1. Not great, but I've seen worse. Goes Debo, then George Kittle, then Gibson, Allen Robinson, Bateman, Trey Burks, Hopkins down here in the 10th, Ramondre Stevenson here in the 11th, Cole Kmet in the 12th, Darrell Henderson in the 13th, and then rounds it out with Marcus Mariota in the 14th. So what do you think of Kyle's team here?
I really like this team. I mean, you're starting off with, 2 projected like top 10 QBs in a lot of people's ranks. And you got like the safer guy, which is Stafford, who's going to throw a shit ton of yards. And then you got the high upside guy in Lamar, which if he runs for 1,000 yards and, has 3,500, passing yards, he could be another top 5, season for him. Williams, like you said, I don't like it as the number 1, but you look who he took him over, Barkley, Fournette. Those were like the 2 next guys, Aaron Jones. So, I'm not mad at it because you went the 2 QB early. You kind of just got left with amongst the top RBs that were left. And I like Debo and Robinson and Bateman. So I like everything he did with the wide receivers. Hopkins kind of just like a throwaway pick. If there is a beef, it's with the running backs. Gibson, a little banged up already. Stevenson and Henderson, who knows what they're going to be, but for getting those guys in double digits, not mad at it at all. So, this one, I'm really, this is like an A-, like B+ team to me here.
There it is. So you definitely value those quarterbacks. You're like, those quarterbacks at the top are erasing a lot of the blemishes that you see at any of the other positions, and they'll make up for it. And that's why you do, want to stack 2 of those top 2 QBs, early in a super flex if it falls to you that way. So you can have that, advantage, and it will make up for, some of those later guys. And especially if you can hit, on some of those later picks, you can put together a monster. And that's what, that's what you're playing for, right? If you're not first, you're last, right? That's how I play.
And here's one thing that people that they may forget, because in single QB leagues, RBs aren't picked at number 1 and 2 because they score the highest points. It's because there's less amounts of them why they get picked. So they're still valuable, but they're not the highest scoring players in the league. QBs are. It's just when you only play in a 1 QB league, there's so many of them to go around, you don't really have to jump. But in Superflex, give me the 2 highest scoring at the highest scoring position. Like I gotta have it there.
Exactly. And that's what Ronald's saying. You got to have those QBs in there in the super flex. He's not liking the Debo Kittle stack. And again, even as a Niners fan, I'm not liking it as well. Again, we were talking about kind of how far I was dropping Cooper down. I think I'm a lot lower in the industry, than the industry is on Debo as a Niners fan. I mean, I love the guy as a fan and as just a football player in general. But when it comes to fantasy, to me, there's just so many question marks around him. I don't like playing again with that. I like production risk, but when it's like this off the field risk, I'd rather just stay away from it. He's at number 10 for me, which I think is, kind of low, compared to where most people are at.
He got drafted as wide receiver 10 here.
Well, I guess that's where he kind of went. So
4th round. I mean, I feel like, I
don't hate it. Yeah. But it's one of those things where I'm just like, there's other guys I'd rather kind of take, ahead of him, but there is definitely a part.
I feel like the risk is baked in because if there's no issues with Debo, he's a 2nd rounder.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if he wasn't requesting a trade and doing all that kind of nonsense, wasn't complaining about his role and was embracing it. I mean, this guy's probably, like you said, easily probably top 5. I mean, he might even go to 4 right after the top 3. He might, take over that 4 spot if that was it. And again, if they did anything, relevant at quarterback, that's the other thing too, is just the unknown with Lance, but he does have a good arm. And again, he is one of the, best yard after catch guys. So it's not like, Trey Lance really has to throw it downfield, that play action and, could be some good potential there. So we'll see. Let's see. Ronald's going off on this one here. Yeah. Scott saying, the QBs carry the team. The RBs could be in real trouble. But that said, it has great potential. And then we're all saying it's not points, it's points over average at the position. Shanahan's prideful is out here making him look bad. I love it. But Ronald's kind of saying he's with me, not really believing in Debo. It was a 1-year wonder, and that's what you do have to worry about. Outplayed his talent due to injury and his opportunity. And like we were saying, he was being drafted in the 7th round, last year.
Yeah.
Ayuk was being drafted in I think the 4th, 5th, like we were talking about. So you just kind of, think back to why we had that, had that back then, what were we seeing? So, but again, things do change. So again, that's why we play. That's why we do this. All right, man. So I had it as my number 4 ranked team, for those that were keeping track, and Mike had it here as the 5th ranked team. So we were all pretty high on it. I had his team come in, I think, right behind yours, because I think I had you at 3. So there it is. So we got me. I got to be in this draft. We'll go through it quickly here. Justin Jefferson. Then we go Russell Wilson, Saquon Barkley, Tyreek Hill, Ezekiel Elliott, Justin Fields, Dalton Schultz, little Ken Walker as my RB3. Snagged a QB3 in Carson Wentz. Then I went Russell Gage. Then kind of grabbed a lotto ticket here in Jameson Williams. Then went Dameon Pierce. I love me some Irv Smith down here as my tight end 2. And then, like I said, I sniped Pierce just from Martin just to be a dick. So
talking about it today, so that was a good move.
Yeah, so it was well worth it. Again, I did rank my team. I'll just give it real quick. I had this as like my 5th ranked team. Obviously, I'm high on my own team. But there were teams I would take over this one. But tell me what you think. How'd I do?
So this is like a B plus, or just like a straight up B to me. I mean, I do like everything you did. I mean, the beefs that I have is Justin Fields maybe being the number 2. At least you did get one of the better QB3s out there. I feel like Carson Wentz is going to have a decent a decent QB2 season, so I wouldn't mind having him as a QB3. I like the running backs, Barkley and Zeke. You got them at value. That's why I like them. If you would have got them earlier, I probably wouldn't have liked it. And then Ken Walker and Dameon Pierce, at least you rounded it out with 2 guys who could potentially be like the starters on their team at some certain point here in the like first half of the season and could definitely be like second half darlings. I do like Gage and Williams, throwing them in late. I mean, I love Alec Pierce, just that it pissed someone off so much. I mean, that always like brings the grade up a little bit. That's why we play. It's to make sure we beat our friends.
Absolutely. To stick it to him. I mean, that's the whole point.
Yeah, if Fields was a different QB, like maybe like a QB like a tick higher, this probably would be like an A- team for me. Like that's my beef is that I don't think Fields takes the step forward this year that everybody really thinks that he is, which he could, but in my eyes, he's probably going to be probably like a lower end QB2 versus this higher end QB2 that everyone thinks he's going to be.
Right. Yeah, and Martin's still talking about it. It's not his Pierce. Yeah, and I said, I was doing it just to be a dick there for you, Martin. But it is all there. I'm not sure who I would have grabbed, but as soon as I heard that going on, I was like, if Pierce is coming to me, I'm taking him for sure. We don't play that game, especially if you hear it, you're going for it. So
yeah,
I like to rustle the feathers, but and again, it was Martin's first draft with us of the year too. So of course I had to make it memorable. So there we go, man. But yeah, so no, hey, I appreciate the feedback on it, man. Again, as you can see, like I've kind of been saying in the feedback I've had from, the other teams, I think this is a cool spot. But I do have, again, why it would, did fall to number 5 is a lot of the reasons you were saying that QB2 spot. But I think what did kind of keep it up there a little more was because I realized that and then immediately went and got Wentz and didn't let him pass. And kind of like Ronald was saying, I think he put it, great there. I do like Fields, not love. And I do hate Wentz, which I do agree with as well too. But they can work together, and that's exactly what I was thinking as it was going on. So to me, that's kind of what I was going for. And as Scott Searns saying, I don't like Fields or Wentz, just they are serviceable on a fantasy team, and the Bears kind of suck though at actual football. So I don't know. Is he like a Green Bay fan or something over there, Vikings fan? What's going on?
Well, I mean, I kind of agree with the way. I mean, we haven't really. I mean, it's it's all Matt Nagy and everything. But yeah, we got to see. We got to see what they do this year. New regime. I mean, the RBs are. All, I mean, David Montgomery is like really serviceable in the NFL, and but yeah, Fields going to be able to take the step up. And now with like Darnell Mooney being like the number 1, which I know they have good rapport, but yeah, that offense makes me so nervous.
Yeah, it is a little scary to see what happened, and it's like it's literally could go like it feels like it go one way or another. And Martin saying Fields nope, not having it. I'm leaving him in my taxi squad this season. So I did a Dynasty startup through the channel with a couple of our original OG listeners that help us get the got the thing going. We started a Dynasty League, and I ended up with Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and Zach Wilson. Fields was the first one I traded away. I eventually traded all 3 of them within the year. But I did get Fields out of there first. I just personally don't like investing in the running quarterback, but I know people are like that out there. I am coming around to guys like Hurts and stuff like that, which I'm sure we'll get into here when we talk about Team 12 here. But and I do have a lot of them in best ball, so I think there is good potential there. Again, it's just not, I'd rather just get like a Stafford type that, is just kind of throwing for 4,000, 5,000 yards and, I'll kind of forego the potential rushing with the potential injury risk that, comes with it. So, so that's that. All right, man. Well, power to the last 2 ones, man. We'll get here and I'll get you out of here. I really appreciate you staying with me here, man. Yeah, sure. So we got a Machine Gunk, something or another back here. What is that name?
Well, it looks like Machine Gun Kelly, but everything after the K is cut
off. It's something else.
Something.
Yeah. Machine Gunk Mad is what it is. There we go. So shout out to Machine Gunk Mad. Thanks for coming in here, man. Drafting the 11th spot, he goes Austin Eckler, followed by Dak Prescott, Kyle Pitts in the 3rd round in the Superflex, which to me is just a little way too early. Then goes Mike Evans, J.K. Dobbins, DJ Moore, Zach Wilson, Mooney, Elijah Moore with the Jets, Chase Claypool, apparently the the wide receiver 3 in the league right now. Then goes Wilson down here in the 11th, followed by James Robinson in the 12th, Noah Fant in the 13th, and Jacoby Myers in the 14th. So What are you thinking about this 11th spot? Only 2 QBs just right out of the bat, and that QB2 is a little.
Yeah, that's what makes me grade this down a little bit. I mean, if you got Zach Wilson as your number 2, you gotta have a number 3 there. I mean, he wasn't great every single week of last year, and I don't think he's gonna be great every single week of this year. And really just having 2 QBs in general, like you're gonna have 2 bye weeks for these QBs, and so you're really just shooting yourself in the foot for 2 games out of the season guaranteed. I mean, Dobbins, if he stays healthy, like he's going to be an amazing number 2, but really nobody behind that. I mean, James Robinson, the only one behind that. That makes me so nervous seeing this. I mean, I like the wide receivers. I like Evans and DJ Moore being the 1 and 2, and Mooney and Moore and Claypool and Wilson. I mean, those are all like serviceable flex guys,
Even Myers in the 14th, I think, is not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give this one a solid C. And I mean, because Prescott, Eckler. I mean, I like Pitts. I mean, I think where he got him there, I mean, it's damn near at the end of the 3rd round, and if he really explodes with Mariota, which I feel like he's going to do that, he is going to be a positional advantage guy since we got the tight end spot. So, yeah, I'm going to say this is like a C. I wasn't even going to say maybe like a C plus, but Wilson and no other QBs make this just like a solid C.
Okay. We got Ronald in here saying Zach Wilson is my number 2 in real Dynasty. He's saying, and yeah, I like Pitts. And again, it's like you're either on one side of Pitts or on the other. I'm not a very big tight end guy anyway. I've always, I guess the new term it feels like going around this fantasy season when it comes to tight end, like it's a new thing, is this whole greater late, thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been hearing that lately, but to me, it's just hilarious. I'm like, I've been doing that ever since I've been playing fantasy football.
Well, it's the new people coming out there trying to come up with, some new sayings for
catchy slangs, right? Yeah. I'm about to be classic Rasta here in a second. Take over my buddy's moniker here. I'm getting too old for these kids out here with their new slang. But yeah. So to me, it was my 12th ranked team, man. Just with these basically only having 2 running backs, basically having 1.5 quarterbacks. I just felt like there's just not enough to come back from. I'm not a big DJ Moore fan. Again, just more so because I'm not a Sam Darnold fan. And again, these other pieces, like I think are nice for yourself, but I don't think they really hold too much value in the market to really trade them. You'd have to like almost package 2 and 3 for 1 just to get something that's just a tick better. So again, this is just a team I wouldn't want to, kind of mess with if I had to get the orphan and this was the last one. I'd be like, man, what'd you guys do? I mean, I would try, but it was just a tough one. But again, nothing personal. Again, just could be how the draft, fell or whatever strategy we're trying. But just unfortunately in this one, it didn't come together. Just be happy it was a mock and, come at it next time. So appreciate you coming out. Hopefully we'll get you in here again. I think Dim Boys was saying that his name actually is Kelly though.
Okay.
So if it is, that's hilarious. Let's see. So yeah, they're all kind of saying in there, kind of agreeing with the same things we're saying here. So we'll let them keep talking in the chat so we can get through this last team and then we'll hit the chat a little more. Cool. And then so yeah, 12th spot here. We got a King John NFL. Also has another podcast in there. Check the description for the link to his channel. As you can see, we all just love helping each other out here, man. And just building our network and bringing you guys with different takes and different content. That's what we want to do for you. We're not the experts on everything and we want to bring you different views, man. So again, we appreciate the collaborations and want to keep it going. So we got John here in the 12th spot. It's a tough spot. And let's see what he does with it. He goes Hurts in the 12. Jamar Chase falling out of the first, even in the Superflex, going here at the 2-1. Then follows that up with Fournette, a little AJ Brown, goes down Darren Waller, grabs Amari Cooper there, finally grabs his QB2 and Winston, follows that up with his RB2 and Damian Harris, follows that up with Juju and then Chris Olave, then grabs his RB3 and Naeem Hines down here in the 11th, followed by Mike Gesicki in the 12th, Johan Dotson here in the 13th, and then one of my favorite guys, one of the guys I have like I think in the like 14 or 15 underdog best balls I have in my team exposure, Algier is literally at my top of the list. A little Tyler Algier action down here in the 14th. Potential RB1 that you can get in the 14th round.
Yeah,
Again, even if he's just like a low end RB2, that's still insane value that you could get, especially late heading into a playoffs, plays in a dome, just a lot of advantages, there
yep,
with that pick. And again, not a lot of risk either. So if it doesn't pan out, it's not like you really invested much. So,
for sure.
what are you thinking here, just overall though, with King John's team?
So I do like the team. I mean, QBs, I mean, getting Hurts and Winston. I mean, I like the duo. I don't like that there's not a QB3,
Yeah,
behind it. So that is one of my beefs there. I mean, waiting and getting Lenny right there. I mean, that's a real good pick. And then I mean, you got Chase and you got AJ Brown. A lot of people are down on AJ, but getting him in the 4th round, I mean, can't be mad at that. Waller at the end of the 5th, I mean, solid value on the tight end, assuming health. And I'm not even mad at the Cooper at the 6-1, because if it was Deshaun Watson, and we knew that for sure, he'd be going a lot higher than that too. He'd probably be like end of the 4th round, 5th round, early 5th round guy. I mean, it's the RBs that make me a little bit nervous about this whole thing. Like if Algier doesn't hit,
yeah,
I mean, this running back room is not going to be too nice. We already don't like the New England Patriots running backs that often. I mean, if he throws down, I mean, I can't remember how many how many touchdowns Harris had last year, but I know he had a shit ton. If he does something like that again, it won't be too bad. But I feel like there's some regression coming there. And then Hines, I mean, I know he's not a glorified backup, but JT's taken so much over there now. It's not really leaving too much meat on the bone for Hines most games. But yeah, I mean, I still think that this is going to be like a C to like a C plus like style squad because I mean we're assuming health, right now, and
right.
I like the combo of Hurts and Winston and him waiting on Winston, and still being able to get him.
When Winston gets hurt, yeah.
Yeah.
And it definitely is a risk. And I was a big Winston fan last year. I think the value we're getting for him, especially in a super flex league as your QB3, was very sneaky, and he got it off to a hot start. Kind of fumbled out there, and then you were kind of like, oh, what's going to go on? And then he ends up getting hurt. And at
Yeah.
least I felt like it was probably the best thing that could have happened, because otherwise I would have been struggling because of the production he did have early. Like, do I throw him in? Do you not have, there would have been
Yeah.
kind of just, do you play him? Do you not play him? And I think there were just kind of ups and downs there. I don't think, Peyton was a great, offensive play caller for Winston. I just don't think they mesh. I think with the new, coaching regime, there could be, an opportunity for him to succeed. But like you said, I'd much rather have him as a QB3 than a QB2.
Yeah.
This one came in unfortunately as my 10th ranked team. Yeah, so number 10 for me here. So I'm kind of down there, with you. Definitely have great pieces up top. Big Chase fan, obviously, and kind of talked about Hurts already, his potential, to be a top 3 fantasy, quarterback, especially with AJ Brown there. And, and he does have that stack. So again, it was, again, this was a real tough one for me to put down there, because there was a lot of pieces I do like, but ultimately I had to come in at my number 10 ranked team. So, again, 12 spots hard, man. It's really hard without that 3rd round reversal. You always feel like you're a half to a full round, behind
For
on
sure.
ADP. So you find yourself either picking from the scraps of the, you're picking from the bottom of the one tier or the top of the lower tier. And
Yep.
there's a big tier gap in between. And so it's like, what do you do? So it's kind of hard sometimes. And yeah, once he kind of got to that like kind of Cooper range, I think even if he takes maybe a second QB, maybe gets a Fields or even a Tannehill, I don't know, maybe even a Mac Jones there, and then still gets Winston, that team's looking a little stronger. So,
For sure.
and then you just kind of, punt the tight end a little bit there. Again, just in our opinion, right? Our 2 cents.
Yeah, because any strategy can win, and it's funny, like
Yeah,
the guys who die on the hill of like, I have to have this certain strategy, or I'm just it just is what it is. I mean, you're building your strategy based on the draft room,
right.
that you're in. So, I mean, really, the best strategy is just to be water and know the draft room. Don't punt any positions, necessarily, and especially in a super flex, like just don't wait on QBs. Like it's not like these single QB leagues. Like you really aren't going to compete with the championship if you don't have at least one top tier QB and then at least a decent second option. So that's my biggest thing, at least on the strategy. Like you cannot punt QB in a super flex and successfully win a championship and make it easy.
Yeah, I mean, unless everyone's punting QB,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, but that's why you got to read the draft. When those QBs just start going off, I mean, you pretty much got to get on the train and grab 2 of them at least within your first 4 picks. Is
I
kind
mean,
of
look
what
at
we
that.
say. And
13
this was,
QBs in the first 24 picks. Like, whoo.
yeah, and that's what I was going to say. And again, this is a lot of, again, podcasters, analysts, we got writers in here, a lot of fantasy guys. So again, we grab those ones. And then I think that's also why we realized that there's no point in really grabbing some of these lower guys. I'd rather just grab a positional player because, grabbing just name a random, quarterback like a Drew Lock, like it's not worth grabbing that. I'd rather take a stab, with a positional player that I can maybe turn into a low end QB3 later, or just, throw that person in my flex spot and get a boom player there. So again, just depends on how you want to play.
And someone mentioned bench spots in there. Like, yeah, there'd be more bench spots, for sure,
Of
if this
course.
is a real league. So, yeah, then the Drew Locks and the Geno Smiths of the world, get drafted like
Right.
all the way towards the end.
Exactly. And again, it's like, but this early it's like you don't really need it this early. If it's there, again, if you grab those 2 solid guys at the top, but if you're grabbing 2 in the middle, you kind of really need that third guy. I feel so. Again, that's where we're at, man. Again, really appreciate the chat for getting at it, man. A lot of fun. I want to just again turn it over to you for anyone else here that maybe didn't miss or that missed the beginning. Tell us again, about your best ball draft, how we get in there, and of course, anything else you have to say here before we sign off.
Well, so the best ball tournament's already filled. We have 252 teams in there, but I'm starting leagues all the time though, and so I'm doing like vampire leagues, guillotine leagues, 3 QB leagues. So pretty much all the non-traditional styles, and I don't even know if anyone's really like done a 3 QB league. I don't know if I'm the first one to do it, but it's a 10 teamer, 2 QB plus Superflex. So if you think that Superflex is crazy, like I'm adding in another QB literally throws the league like on its head, and everything is different. So it just makes it to where everyone's just on a brand new playing field, totally makes it fun. And if you go to fantasyfootballhustler.com, you can get to everywhere that I'm at, and Patreon. If you want to support, get into the 420 like fantasy crew. You get first crack at leagues that we're doing. I do like instead of Super Bowl squares, I do those like literally for like 4 or 5 games like during the season, just for anyone who's into those kind of things as well. But taking everything to the next level as far as like experience, because everything I'm doing, I'm kind of modeling after like the fantasy footballers, they were like one of the big podcasts I was listening to. We go back like a lot of years.
Yeah,
but I'm trying to take it to
the paved the way for all of us.
Yeah, I'm trying to take it to the next level though. Like, like for them, they got their Foot Clan leagues, but all my hustler leagues, like I'm in it. I'm like doing these draft order races. Like I'm in the mix of like everything, and really trying to just take the engagement to the next level and build like the dopest fantasy community out there.
Absolutely, man. We'd love to, merge our community with yours, man. It's really great. Love the interaction that we're having. Appreciate the new guys, Ronald, Scott. I know he's been here before. Will, a couple of new people we've seen coming over from your channel. Really appreciate it, man. Definitely want to have you, here throughout the season if I can, pull you away. Of course, from your channel, we all know how it is, trying to get content out there, for everybody. But I love, just getting different people's takes out there, man. I really love what you're doing. The time, the dedication, the research, and of course, just making it fun for you and your viewers. Just great stuff you're doing over there, man. Like I said, it attracted me right away. You're a great guy. And again, hit that description. Make sure you guys out here and get right. Go out there and follow the 420 Hustler, man. Subscribe to their channel. All that's in there. Let's support one another, man, and we'll make it happen. So bringing good content and everything here to you. So love it, man. I don't want it to end, man. I'd love to just keep sitting here chilling, talking with you, brother. But I know you got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. So for everyone out there, just remember, if you are interested in getting into these Friday night mocks, join the community, hit me up on Sleeper, hit me up on Twitter, get a hold of us. We got spots open. They fill very quickly. This next week, we're actually doing in your wheelhouse. So we'll see if we might be able to have you on again. If you're down, or at least jump in the mock again. But we're doing, I believe, a 1 QB with with an IDP flex or just
Ooh.
IDPs in there as well too. So
it.
we'll set that format. It'll be our first IDP mock of our little off season or draft season here, if you call it. So again, if you guys are interested, hit us up. We'll get those invites to
I'll
you.
for sure mock with you. And if you guys want to have me on video, I mean, I'm down also. But yeah, IDP mock, I'll make sure to get in that, give my 2 cents.
For sure. And we'd love it, man. Because like I said, man, I haven't played IDP in a while. Very familiar with it. Obviously, I pay attention to defenses and stuff. But this is just, again, it just brings a whole nother level of strategy when to take these guys, Ingram, just interchanging your offense and defense and when to go for it and pivoting off other guys. It just, again, it brings that next level, into your drafts, which I love. And Martin is still here. And Martin's actually going to be with us on screen on Friday too. So maybe we'll get you in there as well too.
Cool.
We'll all hang out and do it. And again, we'll be grading them the following Monday. So again, I guess you don't got to go home. You probably are home. But either way, you guys, we won't stay here. So other than that, man, again, just really appreciate you coming out here, Alex. Again, go follow him over there, 420 Hustler, for myself, for Classic Mike, for Dustin, for Frank. We're out, man. Peace.